Welcome, everybody, to our class this Sunday, March 9th. The title is How to Stay in Your Power in Times of Great Change. But we can also say the topic really is how to stay in your power because, all through our life, people have perhaps tried to take our power. Maybe it's not sort of a intentional thing, but we have felt drained by other people, maybe drained by people at our job, drained by relatives. We can even get thrown off by our children, our parents. It doesn't mean we're around super bad people, but there's such an important quality about staying in our power. Then, when we get world events on top of that, or national events where we feel powerless, sometimes it's really hard to get our thread back of our own power, feeling like, okay, I am in charge of my life. I find in general that as we go through life, there are certain people who take our power. We won't go into why they're doing that. I'm sure there's many books written about it. But the feeling for us is that we get bullied, we get intimidated, we feel thrown off from our course in life, perhaps. We either feel, if it's in our family, we might feel overwhelmed by obligations or duties. Someone's making demands on us, somebody's intimidating us. In our job, that can happen very easily. Someone pops up that we feel very uncomfortable around where we can't really be ourselves. A typical quality, I think, of a bully or an abuser is simply that they try to take our power. They try to intimidate us to the point where we do things their way. They usually have a narrative of some kind, they have a story. And part of the intimidation is to look at everything from their point of view. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It could be your brother, it could be your father, it could be your Aunt Matilda, it could be your child. How do we stay in our power in a situation like that? How do we keep on listening to our own sensibility and not let our story, our way of looking at things, get replaced by somebody else's narrative? Because often, in the case of a bully or an abuser, they introduce their narrative as the only truth. And then at that point, suddenly we find out we don't have any choice. We're disempowered by somebody else's narrative. Um, we're disempowered by the part we suddenly have to play in somebody else's movie. Now, how did that happen? We thought we had our own movie going there. We thought we were the main character. And now suddenly we're disempowered. We have to either go with what somebody else wants us to do, or even worse, we lose our confidence and we forget what we want to do or who we are really. And people I've worked with who have come from very abusive households, one of the main important things is people lose their identity. They get so intimidated, they follow somebody else's narrative so much that they forget they have power. They forget they have a choice. And that's the part where we really need to step in as a soul and say, no, I'm not going to let that happen. I am going to retain my choice. I am going to retain my own story, my own belief, my own character of who I am. Sometimes the very first thing we can do is to just simply say to ourselves, I'm not going to let this have power over me. I'm not going to let this event have power over me. It might be an illness, it might be a job loss. I'm not going to let this person have power over me. Maybe someone we have to see every Christmas or something like that. I'm not going to let my child have power over me. And what is that moment? Well, it's just a sort of a birth of courage, but it's also a very important part of the puzzle, which is someone can take your power, an event can take your power, but the other half of it is that you agree to it. So by saying to yourself, I'm not going to let it have power over me, we remove our part of the agreement. We say, no, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm sticking with my own choice. I'm sticking with my own story. I'm not going to be taken over, and I'm not going to give up my choice. So that all sounds well and good until until we're really in a difficult situation. And then we think, well, how can I stand up to this person, this event, this thing that's happened? The best way to really start standing up is to, first of all, just affirm it to yourself. Say, I'm not going to let it have power over me. Then the next part is, well, if a bully or an oppressive situation does not have power over me, then where can I go for power? We go to spiritual power. We go to that part of ourselves that is maybe a little foggy sometimes, but we have to create that link to our own spiritual power outside of ourselves. The thing about bullies is that the more you stand up to them, the less power they have. The more you choose your own choice, the more you choose your own story, the more you invalidate their narrative, the less power they have. That's just how bullies are. That's how abusers are. Even in a situation that you're really afraid of, like illness, we connect to our spiritual power and remind ourselves, yeah, I have a choice. I have power. Unfortunately, it's invisible. But on the other hand, it keeps growing and growing. The more we connect to spiritual power, the bigger it gets. And that's because it's coming from light, it's coming from a power that's so beyond us, so huge, that it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The trick is, of course, how to connect to the power, how to really feel it, how to really connect with that voice, because there's many voices in our head. The most important thing to remember is it's not going to be a negative voice. I think sometimes you might connect with your guidance and you say, should I do this? And you might get an answer no, or it's the wrong time. But it's usually coming with wisdom. When I talk about a negative voice in your head, I mean all those negative voices where we may be reacting to something someone said. We may be reacting to fear about an event. We may be reacting to something that someone has put us down or made us feel compromised or inadequate for years. Those are usually negative voices. Another tendency we all have is to think that the negative is more real than the positive. Now, why do we do that? Well, who knows? But the point is if you have a negative voice in your head, you often think, oh, this is reality. I can't go out and take this photographer course and be a photographer because that's crazy. I have to stick to being an accountant. And sometimes that voice within us, it it is negative, and we also think that's true. Sometimes, unfortunately, because we've been sort of brainwashed by all this, the more negative the voice is, the more true we think it is. We think, oh, I've got to connect with reality here. I can't be daydreaming. I can't be thinking of pie in the sky or light and love. I've got to get serious. I've got to get my life together. Of course, we all have to get our life together, but oftentimes the most positive voice in your head, also the safest voice, the most peaceful voice, that will be the voice of your guides and angels. What they want to do, and we're just in a world here where we believe we have guides and angels, I think we do. I do believe there's a higher power. I do believe there's a whole world of a higher frequency that we can lift up to with the help of our guides and angels. In order to do that, it's not so much like we have to believe some crazy positive thing that we might not believe, but the important thing is to stop plugging into the negative, even in our own head. It's easy to get afraid, it's easy to get discouraged. And a lot of the abusive situations we face in life almost want us to get discouraged. They want us to give up. We face a lot of challenges in our life, but the way we deal with it is to keep plugging into this higher power. Some days we might not even believe in it, but it's still there and it's still really, really powerful. And the more we attempt to plug in, the more it's going to step into our lives. Now, maybe some of you already are channeling, or you're meditating, or you're doing tarot cards or pendulum. Maybe already you have a nice flow of wisdom coming into your life. Now, there be maybe a moment where you get discouraged or depressed, and it's hard to hear that positive voice. But I think what we all want to do is stay trained on the positive voice, trained on the bigger picture of what we might be learning through a situation, trained on a higher voice that will allow us to make sense of things, but also to stand up for ourselves, to have courage, to make our own choices, to find our own path, and to not get seduced into that world where we feel powerless, where we feel like we have no choice. Because remember, our mind, our being is all powerful. I think the essence of spiritual work is to understand that we can create whatever we want. Now, we may think, oh, yeah, right, that really worked. But actually, we are all powerful. We think a thought, we think a thought again and again and again, and we can create it. It's mainly just staying in that focus, staying on that kind of narrow path where we look around us and say, no, I don't want to go into that negative place. I don't want to go into that negative thought. I'm not going to listen to that negative voice. I'm going to stick with the light. I'm going to stick with this higher power that I feel. I'm going to find ways in my day-to-day life where I can either feel the higher power or communicate with it, or find ways that I can tune into it somehow. And I'm going to stay focused on that. For me, the way I first started connecting with my angels was through automatic writing. I know some people, it's more of a feeling, like they might go into a church and just feel spirit, or they might be out in nature and really feel peace and spirit. Some people connect a lot with animals. The animal can bring in a sense of peace and calmness and serenity. Or I know some people who feel they have a spirit animal, so they might ask a question and they might be very troubled, and then their spirit animal, a hawk or a coyote or something, will appear to them in real life usually and make them feel, oh, my prayer's been answered. Our guides communicate with us in many, many different ways. One prayer that Jim will probably talk to you about is the prayer of adjusting your mind and your intentions before you go to sleep so your guides can come to you as you sleep and heal you, but also give you instruction, education, guidance. We're all very individual. We all perceive the infinite in a lot of different ways. The trick is to find your way and really try to keep showing up and feeling it, keep showing up and communicating, keep showing up and asking for answers from a higher source. I was actually overjoyed to meet Jim because I had gotten to the point where I would ask my guides for advice or help. I never thought I would meet a man who also would ask his guides for advice and help. So a lot of the challenges we face together, or even in the world, we often don't ask each other what our opinion is. We often just meditate and find out what our guides advise us to do. And that's a wonderful, wonderful pathway to always be able to connect with our guides and say, okay, what is that wisdom? I'm uncertain now. I'm frightened. I feel powerless. I need to connect with my guide now and get a different orientation. I need to find out what the guidance would be for this particular situation. So, what I'm going to do today is lead us in a meditation. It's kind of a long meditation, but what I want to do is connect us all with our own feeling of guidance. And it's going to be long enough so that if something doesn't feel, if you're not feeling it, keep going in the meditation, because we'll go on to the next part of it and you might feel something. The most important thing to remember is that our guides, our angels, can communicate with us in many, many different ways. We might go through a whole guided meditation and not really feel or see anything. We might go to sleep that night and wake up at 4 in the morning with a big solution just comes into our head. We might drive out and suddenly see all these license plates. I know that's one way that a lot of guides start connecting with people. We see a license plate that has a certain message on it all the time. Or we see a license that says 777, 333, 111. Every time we look at the clock, it says 111 or 666 or 777. These are ways that our guides start making that connection with us. It's kind of the idea that we're not alone. And the more we trust that, and the more we reach out, and the more we leave a space. So, in other words, you could say a prayer, and you could talk all the way through your prayer. You might be like, hey, help, I need help. What do I do? But sometimes as we pray, if we're just really still and we say, could you please talk to me? Uh, I would like to connect with the highest level possible of wisdom, my guides, my angels, the divine spirit, whatever you call it, whatever you feel comfortable with. Now I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to listen. That can be very, very important, because who knew, we're always talking, but when you really create that moment where you just listen, sometimes spirit will come in and start to either talk to you in words, in feelings, in colors, in symbols. Again, you can put out the intention, I want to get guidance, and it may come the next day, the next day, the next day. What we're doing is we're tuning ourselves to that higher frequency. And we're also saying that all the negative things on earth and all the negative people are in a certain frequency, and we can actually go above it to a higher frequency. Doesn't mean we're not in the world. We have to deal with the world, obviously, but that doesn't have to be all our input. Our input can at least be half coming from the higher frequency. And what that's going to do is center us, ground us, put us in the light, put us in more positive thoughts, even more positive solutions. If we're facing a big challenge, like an illness or a difficult child or a situation at our job, being in that stillness and that quiet and that peacefulness, being in that place where we can really hear guidance that maybe isn't something we would have thought of, is always going to help us. It's the feeling, as Jim would say, that we always have an invisible team that we're working with. And the trick is to feel the team and connect with the team. So if we're ready, I'm just going to start our meditation now. So get comfortable, get something if you need to drink, or whatever you need. We're just going to start with breathing. Just find your own center now. Just feel your breath going in and out very slowly. We can pull our breath in into our chest, and then we pull it on down to our belly. We can even pull our breath down our legs to our feet. Our whole being is filled with our breath. And as we breathe, we really don't have to think about anything. Just follow the breath. And in this entire meditation, remember, all we're going to be doing is feeling how we feel. So there's no right answers, because everybody feels differently. So in other words, it's okay to just feel what you're feeling. If bad feelings come up, if memories come up, if aches and pains come up, a feeling of peace comes up. Just be the observer, stand aside and say, okay, I'm feeling this today. So again, let's take a deep, deep breath. Now I want you to pull the breath in as far as you can and just hold it for a moment. Now let it out. Let's do that again. Pull the breath way, way in. Hold the breath. Just let it out when you feel ready. One more time. We pull in a huge breath and we hold it in a moment of stillness. Just let it out. Now we're going to roll our head on our neck. Just let your head go. Stretch your neck, relax your neck. We hold so much tension in our neck. We hold so much anxiety sometimes in our shoulders. Just let it go. Just let it go. Your head is loose and limp. Loose and limp. Now let's roll your head the opposite direction. Again, just stretch your neck, relax your neck. Just let it roll around. Now we're going to be as tense as we possibly can be because we're raising our shoulders right under our ears. Just press your shoulders up higher, 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 tenser, tenser, tenser. Now let them drop. Let's do that again. Raise your shoulders. Feel how tense that can be all through your shoulders and your neck. Now let them drop. Now, if you're sitting up, I want you to raise your arms just right up to the ceiling. I want you to feel the stretch right from your lower back up through your shoulders, up through your arms. Now let your hands slowly go down, very slowly. It's almost like there's snowflakes that are drifting down. It's because your hands are weightless. There's no weight in your hands, so your arms can't come down. Your whole body is weightless. Your whole body is floating. If a breeze came along, you would just go sideways because there's no weight in your body. You're just floating. Now we're going to rotate on our hips. If you're lying down, just imagine your hips going in a circle. If you're sitting up, just move your upper body around in a circle. All we're doing is stretching out our lower back. That's all we're doing here. We're just relaxing our lower back and we're stretching it out. We're going in a big circle. There might be a stiffness in your back. There might even be places that hurt. So just be very gentle. We're just getting the energy stirring in your lower back. Now just go the opposite direction. Another big circle. Just leaning into it, just stretching your back, relaxing your back. As we come to sit up now, just take a moment to check into your body. How do you feel? Remember, there's no right answers. I want you to imagine a bright, bright light pouring down through the top of your head, rushing into your body. We're calling it in the name of God, Creator, Great Spirit. This is your chi, your life force energy. It's always rushing through your body, whether you notice it or not. It's your life force. It's the electricity. It's the power that runs you. Imagine it shooting down your legs, shooting down your arms, swirling around your heart. This beautiful light, this beautiful energy. It might be effervescent like champagne, but it's so powerful. It's just dancing all throughout your body all the time. And there's always more energy pouring in through your crown chakra. And now I want you to imagine that energy pouring out of your heart and creating an energy field all around you. This energy field protects you constantly, whether you realize it or not. And the more you pour energy into it, the better protection you get, and also the better boundaries you get. Because remember, we want to be a, a unit of energy. We don't want anyone draining us. We want to be strong in our energy. So take a moment and feel that field around you. If you feel it needs more energy, remember there's always light pouring through the top of your head. Pull it into this field. We call this energy in the name of God, Creator, Great Spirit. This is divine energy that always protects you. Now let's go back into our heart. Our heart is kind of like a generator of chi, life force energy. That's because every moment of joy, happiness, comfort, just even security builds up your chi. It adds to your chi, it adds to your own life force. And I want you to think back over the last week or two to some of those moments where you just felt happy, joyful, maybe just comfort or safe or relaxed. Can be really small, like ordering your favorite cup of coffee or walking your dog or seeing a sunset. But I want you to focus in now on how those moments felt and maybe even how they felt in your heart. So you notice as we do this, if you've had any fears over the week or any feelings of helplessness or powerlessness, notice that we can change the flow of our emotions. If we focus in on the joy, the happiness, it kind of knocks out the fear. We kind of get centered in our body. I know it's always a temptation to think, oh, the fear is real and the joy isn't. But in the eyes of our angels, the joy is real and the fear isn't real. So let's get aligned with the big guys because they know a lot more than we do. So now we're going to give ourselves a little bit more light and power. So I want you to hold your hands out in front of your heart. Imagine that there's a ball of light or a ball of energy in your heart. And it's now there's a ball of light in your hands. You might even be able to feel this light in your hands. Sometimes you might feel a friction, a warmth. If you're used to energy, you might see a color or get a feeling. We say to ourselves, dearest God, Creator, I accept this gift of love that you're giving me today. It's always so important to accept energy, to accept gifts, to keep a flow coming in, to receive. Now let's look at this energy in your hands again. Did it grow at all just since we were talking? Is it heavy? Is it light? Is it bigger? Is it a different color? Let's put that energy right in our heart. Can you feel it? We say to ourselves, I receive it in my heart and in my life. Sometimes our chi energy might feel warm, it might feel tingly. We might get a little buzz in our third eye. Be alert for any of the signs of energy, how you feel it in your body, because that allows us then during a day, especially a day with challenges or difficulties, to just sit down, focus, and increase our chi to bring more energy into our system and make us stronger. Now let's do this again. We have another ball of light in our hands. Now you can see light filling your hands coming down from above. You can see it flowing from your heart. It doesn't really matter, but just see that light or energy in your hands. Let's experience it for a moment. Now, this ball of light is a gift from the universe to you today. So it could be anything. It could be an answer to a question you've had. It could be wisdom. It could be healing of a relationship. It could be patience, prosperity. What is this gift you've got in your hands? Let's tune in. Does it have a message? Does it have a color? Does it have a feeling? So now we say to ourselves, dearest God, Creator, I accept this gift today. Always important to keep accepting gifts, energy, anything positive. We have to accept it. Let's look at that energy again. Did it change any just since we were talking? Does it have another message for you? Now I want you to put it right into your heart. And again, we say to ourselves, I receive it in my heart and in my life. Remember, if you can see images or visuals, it's great. If you just feel them, it's fine. If you don't see or feel anything, remember, just the intention is enough. So we have called in your guides and your angels to help you receive that gift. So let's take a deep breath now. Another deep, deep breath. Let's focus in on our heart, just like we were standing in our own heart in a bunch of golden light. And we decide to take a walk out of our heart. There's a golden path leading out of our heart. So we just start walking on the path. Beautiful golden path beneath our feet, beautiful blue sky over our head. Maybe we hear birds singing. We're walking into a pine forest. Sometimes these trees are a bit dark and tall, but the needles under our feet are very soft and fragrant. We're just walking through the forest. It's a beautiful day. We feel really at peace with ourselves. We're following a trail and it's sort of going to a mountainside. We keep walking down the path, and suddenly, right in front of us, is a big rock wall. We're coming right up to the mountainside. As we're walking around it, trying to figure out how to go, we see a little path going right into the rock. So, what do? We walk right along that path, and we're in a cave. At first, it seems light because we have the daylight coming from the cave entrance. We sort of walk a few steps down the stony cave path, kind of curious, a little scared, like, what am I doing here? But we're intrigued and we keep walking downwards, down this stony path until pretty soon the light gets kind of dim. We look around us. Is it time to walk out of the cave? We look behind us, and that dim light from the cave entrance is pretty far away now. What do? We look ahead of us, and it's pitch dark. We look behind us again to see the light from the cave opening. Well, there's a light being behind us, a being of light. And suddenly, our path in front of us going into the cave is full of light. It's like we've got a huge flashlight. We can feel this light being behind us. It's a peaceful, kind person or being. We feel safe with them. Maybe we can't really communicate, but we know we're okay. So we keep walking down the path. But it's kind of strange because the path gets more and more narrow. The rock wall gets lower. It might even get a little hot and stuffy. And we think, what are we doing here? We turn around a bend, and yet here's a beautiful rock wall full of quartz, beautiful quartz crystals. We notice that on the floor of the cave, there's some beautiful quartz crystals. I want you to lean down and pick up the most beautiful quartz crystal you can see. Now, this stone as you look at it, it's going to have a message for you. This crystal is also your greatest strength. This is how you've gone through your life and the greatest strength that you have in getting through your life up to this point. So look at the crystal and think about what message that stone has. What is your greatest strength? What's helped you the most through your life? Now, the light being behind you takes the crystal, presses it back in your hand so you know you can keep it. This is a wonderful quality that you've had all your life, and it's yours. So I want you to put this beautiful crystal in your pocket now. You feel reassured by this light being, this angel or this guide that's walking behind you. You feel safe. You feel peaceful. You feel burdens lifting off of you just being around this being. The being points to another path leading out of this cavern. And I want you to take this path. But again, it's kind of strange because it's leading downward. The path is narrow, it's stony. You're kind of wondering what you're doing here. Let's keep walking in the path, but your guide is right behind you all the way. You come to another turn. Oh my God, there's a huge lake here, a lake way underground. And there's beautiful gemstones all along the surface of the bank of the lake. I want you to reach down and pick one up. What color is it? What does it look like? It's sitting there in your hand. This stone represents what people admire in you. All the people around you, your family, your friends, your children, your parents. What's a quality that everybody admires in you, that everybody goes to you for? This is that stone. I want you to look at the stone. I want you to feel it. And I want that message to come to you. Your angel is by your side. They take the stone from your hand, fill it with light, and now it's yours to put in your pocket. This is who you are. This is a beautiful blessing that you've carried with you all your life. Put it in your pocket. But the angel doesn't stop here at this beautiful underground lake. They keep going. They go around the side of the lake to a tunnel on the other side. And again, it feels like we're going deeper into the mountain. We come around to the side of another rock wall. And now we see stones that are all green in color. Beautiful emeralds, green stones. Look at them. They're all over the rock wall in front of you. They've fallen down on the ground in front of you. I want you to pick one up and look at it. Now, this stone is a talent or ability that you have that's very much part of your life path. If you live this talent and ability every day, I want you to think about it and appreciate it. If you have gotten separated from it, if you want your life to go back to this interest, this passion, this talent, I want you to look at the stone and see what message it has for you. Look at the stone. Is there some passion or joy that you've forgotten that you want to be part of your life? Is there another level to the work you're already doing that you want to go to? What is this stone telling you? Your guide takes this stone from you, fills it with light, and puts it in your pocket. Remember, this is you. This is your talent. This is your strength. This is your chi or life force. It's part of you. You're never separate from it. Now your guide takes the lead. The angel is guiding you further down into this cavern. It's so tight now that you have to bend down. You're trying to get past the stones and you're thinking, why is my angel taking me here? What in the world is going on? You come to a very cramped area and you're suddenly thinking, what am I doing here? But what's happening is that there's a wall of black stone right in front of you. It's like a wall of coal. What on earth could possibly have brought you here? There's coal on the ground and it's black, it's greasy, it's dusty. You're getting all this black dust on yourself. And your guide takes one of these black stones and gives it to you. You don't want this black stone, it's horrible. It's also so dark down here. You feel really tight, you feel uncomfortable. The guide tells you that this stone is the part of you that you hate about yourself. This is the part of you that you try to hide from other people. This is a part of you that you're ashamed of. This is the part of you where you thought you had failed about something. This is something you really don't want to see. So you're kind of really pissed off at your angel. Why are they showing this to you? Why are they focusing on this? I don't want to know this. This is like a handicap. It's something that's held you back time and time again, or it's an event that has made you feel so frustrated or you just couldn't get past it. Look at this stone in your hand. What do you feel about this stone? You're angry at it. You feel defeated. Maybe you feel ashamed or guilty. What do you feel? What you might feel is, why is this coming up for me again? I thought I'd overcome this. I thought I'd gotten past it. I thought I had tried to overcome it. And yet here it is again, just like always. Now your angel takes that stone from your hand and breaks off the black layer. He whacks it against the stone wall, and suddenly the black part cracks off. Underneath is a diamond, a beautiful, beautiful diamond. And your angel says, will you accept this diamond? This is the hidden gift of your handicap. This is the hidden gift of all that trauma and difficulty you went through. This is the gift of who you became because of this obstacle, because of this trait, because of this difficulty. I want you to look at this diamond in your hand. It's beautiful. It sparkles. It's radiant. That's your soul. That's who you are. You did go through all that, but this is the result. Now your guide puts it in your pocket. This is yours for eternity. This beautiful, beautiful diamond, this beautiful, beautiful quality in you that everybody can see. That's you. Now your guide takes you to the back of this cavern. Seems like you can't bend down far enough to get through here. It's all dark. And yet there's a door in front of you, a stone door. Your angel goes up to the stone door. He opens it. You walk through. Suddenly you're in a big room with light coming in the windows. Your guide leads you over to a table, and on the table is a big book. This book is the book of your life. Your angel is standing right next to you. You can ask your angel now any question you want to. The first question might be about your life. Is there some question you want to ask about what happened in your life? You've been feeling your angel all the way along this journey. They're right there next to you. Just turn to them and ask them that question. I want you to listen for the answer. If an answer doesn't come in words, maybe it will come in feelings, a color, a sensation, a thought. Stay open. I want you to put that answer in your heart, and I want you to allow your angel and guide to keep coming to you and keep bringing you wisdom as you sleep tonight and the days ahead. But now, with your angel right beside you, you have a chance to ask another question. Why don't you ask now about a challenge you're facing right now in your life? Again, ask the question, wait for an answer. Feel the angel's presence right next to you. Keep open to what you might be feeling, hearing, thinking. We're on the highest level of consciousness now. Let's hear what the wisdom is. Again, we ask your angel to continue giving you wisdom, advice, light tonight and in the days to come. Feel the energy of this being around you. Is there anything you can feel about this being? Does it feel like someone who's passed, who loved you? Does it feel like an archangel or a light being that you connect with? Can you feel anything particular about this light being? This is your angel that's been with you all your life. Just feel the presence for a moment. Now I want you to ask your angel about a decision that you have to make. Think about the decision you have to make if you don't know what to do about it. Ask your angel to help you. Do you have another question you want to ask your angel about your life, your childhood, other decades of your life, or right now? Your angel's right next to you. Is there something else you want to ask them? All these answers are in your heart now. There may be some issues that you need continued guidance on. We're calling in your angel. We're calling in any other light being on your light being team to come in and help you, give you guidance, give you support, give you a grounding, give you a feeling of peace tonight and in the days to come. They're always very, very close to you. They're always as close as they are now. If you haven't been able to hear words or see pictures, we're calling on your guides and your angels to allow this to happen to you, to receive the wisdom, whether you realize it or not. They're invisible, they're there, they're going to fill you with peace and guidance and direction. And we accept that now. Now your light being is guiding you up some stairs. Suddenly the door opens and you're outside. You're outside in the woods again. You turn back to your angel. You thank them for all the wisdom you've received and for the closeness, the connection you've had to the light through this angel and through all your light beings and angels. You know you can come back at any time to reconnect, to gain wisdom, to gain strength. Now you're walking down a little hill back into the pine forest. The sun is above you. You feel so much lighter now. You feel so much connected to peace and light. You walk through the woods. Ahead of you is the golden path, and you put your feet back on the golden path. You walk along the golden path and you walk right back into your heart. You come back with all the wisdom, all the connection to the light, all the high frequency understanding. It's permanent now, it's with you. No one can ever take it away. We call on your guides and angels to constantly be with you and to constantly give you the wisdom and guidance you need in the days ahead. Feel that light in your heart. Just feel the light spreading all throughout your body now. When you feel ready, take a deep breath and open your eyes. Right now, it's 7 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a 10-minute break now. So relax. You might want to get something to eat. You might want to write down some notes. And we're coming back in 10 minutes because Jim McCarthy, who's a wonderful spiritual teacher and counselor, will be guiding us on the second half of this class. Thank you.
Okay. Wanted to make sure I turned back on the recorder. I made that mistake before. Anyway, welcome to the class. For those that don't know who I am, my name is Jim McCarthy, and I've been teaching with Abby for, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years. And before that, we taught together at a school called the School of Multidimensional Healing. And before that, I taught separately. But anyway, I just wanted to, let me see what I want to do here. I guess first I should connect, huh? Okay. So when we try to find out what our life's purpose is, there's like many dimensions to that. But one of our truest life's purposes is to realize our true self and reconnect to it. And that's really what connecting to your power is. When I started writing some notes for the class, the first thing my guides told me was stepping into your power is nothing more than realigning yourself with your essence, the truth of who you are. And I remember years ago reading a book or parts of a book called I Am That, or I Am That I Am, or something like that. And the book was really about realizing what you're not and letting go of it. And that's really the process of stepping into your power. Because when we're born into a world that has all kinds of pre-existing limitations, pre-existing um, perceptions that we're not good enough, we're not lovable, we're not strong, we're not worthy, all of these things. And we're born into these things. And we're born into like a whole lot of belief systems of what determines whether you're good, what determines whether you're bad, what determines whether you're right or you're wrong or whatever. And we start to look to that as our authority. We start to look to the outer voices of everybody as to, like our parents, for example. We don't know any better when we're a little kid. And we look to them and they say you're a good, you smile, you feel good. They say you're bad, you feel bad. Okay, sometimes even scared. But you might not understand, what did I do so I was bad? Right? And you're really under their authority of their judgments and their opinions and their perceptions. And that's what carries on this limiting consciousness, this consciousness that creates pain and suffering. And when we're a little child, there's nothing we can do about it. We don't know any different, right? It's just kind of part of how the world works. But as we get older, we've got to heal it. And our life is spent healing this and letting go of the things that we're not. And as that happens, we naturally step into what we are. And it's really going from wrong identification to right identification. Okay. So I have a note here somewhere. Um, at some point, we have to ask ourselves, who's our authority? Right? Is our authority the people in our lives that are judging us, that are criticizing us, that are telling us we're not good enough? Or is our authority the light within us that knows exactly who we are, what we are, and what our gifts are to bring to the world? Right? And by making that shift, you step into your power. Okay. And some of the ways we make that shift are we start to be aware of our emotional health and our emotional states of consciousness. And one of the teachers that Abby and I like, her name is Sarah O'Mara, and she wrote a book called Healing Your Miracle Awaits. And in that book, there's an affirmation that says, I affirm health, harmony, and wholeness as the essence of my being. Okay. And if you notice when we do light work, when you're doing meditations and you connect to this source energy or this light, there's always peace. And there's always a feeling of being full and having warmth in us. And it's just a very powerful feeling in itself. But it's not anger, it's not hate, it's not frustration, it's peace. Okay. And that's really what we are. When we connect to our higher selves, we naturally align ourselves with peace. So to step into your power, you want to start monitoring when you're out of peace, right? When you feel afraid, when you feel angry, when you feel frustrated, when you feel ashamed, guilty, and you want to recognize that that isn't who I am. But what it does bring to mind is that something's going on in your consciousness, in your mind, and your thoughts that's associated with the feeling. Okay. Sometimes like in some of the teachings, it's like you're responsible for your thoughts and you need to change your thoughts. And if you think positive, then good things will happen. If you think negative, bad things will happen. But in truth, you're having thousands and thousands of thoughts every second, okay? And you're not aware of most of them. It's kind of like the iceberg, right? There's the tip of the iceberg that's above the water, but there's a huge iceberg that's below the water. And in terms of spiritual healing, that part that's below the water is all of the traumas from past lives, all of the learnings from past lives, all of the traumas from the ancestral, from your ancestral lineage, right? It goes from generation to generation. And part of how that happens is you're born with the imprint already, but you're also, what you didn't understand, your parents are going to teach you because that's all they know how to teach. Okay. Like this is good, this is right, this is wrong, this is bad. And we drink that up. Now remember, um, one of the things I do at night before I go to sleep a lot is I meditate and I call in my guides and angels and I call in avatars and I call in, my healing team. And I just give them permission to heal me while I sleep. Okay. To remove any defects, any obstacles that are blocking my connection to the light and the truth of who I am. And the reason I do it before I go to sleep is because when you're sleeping, your mind's quiet, your ego's out of the way, your attachments to things is quiet, your fear of stuff is quiet, right? And when you ask this and you go to sleep and you ask it with sincerity, you'll have dreams that are just weird sometimes, but might have dreams where emotions come up and all of that stuff's being released to you. Okay. And I remember before one of Abby and I's classes, I did this and I had a dream that night. And I was seeing myself as a child, and all these adults were like judging me and telling me what was right and what was wrong and what was good and what was bad. And they weren't only telling me, but in the judgment, they were also transmitting the energy of it. So if they didn't like me, they were transmitting that. Okay. If they thought I wasn't worthy, they were transmitting that. If they thought I did something wrong, they were transmitting that. And I remember watching this in my dream, and this divine being came into the dream and said, "Do you see how you're just drinking all this up?" And I said, "Yes." And then she said, "This becomes your identity." Okay. And really, what it does is it blocks you from realizing who you truly are, right? You go into defense of these judgments the rest of your life, and you start to prove that you're not, you try to prove that you're not them. That's not being in your power. Being in your power means that you've eradicated them from your system and you're back in alignment with the truth of who you are. Okay. So in this dream, she said, "There's nothing you can do about this except for offer it to me and let me take it out of you." Because the you that thinks, that believed this is a wounded you. It's not the real you. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But what I learned about it was that all healing comes by grace and it comes from light. But the thing that we need to be responsible to get back into our power and step into our power is to make a conscious connection with the light and offer things to the light that need to be healed and ask the light to take the lead in healing it on all levels. Okay. So when I work with people, if there's an emotional, like a lot of the people that come to me, they're high souls, but some of them are going through what I would call the dark night of the soul, which means that they're facing all of these big wounds. And sometimes that's hard to do without someone to hold light for you. And what I realize is all of these things that they're facing in life are bringing up all of these wounds or false identities that they believed that they were, that they believed from past lives, that was in their lineage before they were even born, that need to be healed and corrected. Okay. And our role is to start to learn to be present enough to be aware of when we're in a wound, and then have the ability to reconnect with our power self, with our light self, and give it permission to lead the way to heal the wound. Okay. But we have to let go of it. We have to let go of the wounded feeling. And we also have to let go of any thoughts, judgments, opinions, or perceptions that we think we know, okay? And allow the light to transmute those as well. Okay. I mean, one of the people I follow a lot is the Divine Mother. And one of the things she says is pray for me for understanding. And at first, when I heard that, I was like, I don't think I want to understand some of this stuff. And so I thought about it for a while and I contemplated a little bit. And, contemplation is a really good tool for stepping back into your power. And all it is calling in the divine and asking it, calling in your guides and angels and saying, I don't understand this. Help me understand it. Right. And so I started practicing that. And everything I prayed for understanding for, I realized that understanding came with a shift of perception. And when I started to see things rightly, there was no more suffering left. There was no more fear left. There was no resistance. There was nothing. It just, understanding means that you see it as it truly is, above the states of wounded consciousness of humanity. And when you see that, you're at peace and you're no longer afraid. Okay. So, again, it's another tool for stepping back into your power is to call in your guides and angels if you're afraid, if you're angry, if you're whatever, and just say, look, I offer this to you. I don't know how to deal with it. Please help me understand it. Please correct my thoughts. Please light up my path in life, right? And you realize when you put this infinite intelligence first, that knows how to protect you, knows how to guide you through situations that are stressful, knows how to help you handle challenges, you'll always be safe. You'll always be protective, and you'll always have way more power at your disposal than you could even comprehend, right? Abby and I, we meditate with we meditate every day together. And there's this group that we meditate with that is, um, they're at a very high frequency. They're at a very high consciousness. And one day we were meditating with them and they said that, they told me, you'll bring an energy to the world that you'll never understand, but it will be healing. Are you okay with that? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay with that. But I didn't understand it. Okay. And then they said, you'll never understand it. And I was like, okay, I get that. And then they said, you don't need to understand it. Right. And I was like, okay. And so I contemplated that. I said, what do you mean by this? And so for the next few days, I was like, what does that mean? And the way it came to me was that these beings are from the eighth and ninth dimension, and you can't comprehend their consciousness with the human mind, right? But they know how to correct things. They know how to bring things to a higher level of consciousness. And we all have access to this within ourselves. Stepping into your power is learning how to work with that, right? Stepping into your power is when you face a challenge or when you're afraid or when you're um, emotional, to turn to the light within you first, call in the divine, call in your guides and angels, and just be completely honest with them about what you're feeling and what you want help with. And then just ask for their help and then be still for a moment and allow the help to come in. Because what happens, some of the ways we block stepping into our power is we want to be in control of things. We're afraid and we want the fear to go away. So we kind of try to bully God into making the situation go away, or we try to, we're just so uncomfortable with the perception and the feelings from the perception that we just want to change the outside world and have it shift so we don't have to feel that way anymore. Okay, I was working with someone the other day, and she asked me, why is this happening? And what do I need to do about it? And I looked into it, and what the guides told me was that she was trying to manage her emotions with her mind. And I said, well, what's that mean? And they said, when she feels real nervous or scared, she tries to think her way out of it and, make plans and try to make this outside world different so that she doesn't have to feel what she's feeling. And they said how she needs to act to step into her power is to get comfortable with the feeling, make friends with the feeling so that it doesn't control her, and ask the light within her to help her with whatever situation she's going through, but to take the lead. It's not so much that it's there. You want to ask the light within you and your guides to go before you. And when they go before you, you have the power of these very high dimensions that know the truth, that know what your lesson is, that know what your relationship with the person is or what the job is, and they know exactly what's best for your highest good. And when you offer a situation to them and you say, please go before me and bring guidance and light to this situation every second of the way, when you step into that situation, things might already be changed, right? Because now you've brought in a higher consciousness, and the rule of this world is a higher frequency will always dominate a lower frequency. Okay. But you've got to allow it to come in. So our role is to not try to do things by ourselves, but to call on our guides and angels on a regular basis, right? Back to Sarah O'Mara, back to Christ. What did he teach? You must pray without ceasing. What does that mean? It means always be connected to the light. All prayer is talking to the divine. So if you're always bringing it in, you're always praying. Okay. But like if you notice, like with Abby's meditation, it was, very guided meditation. There was a lot of light involved, and you felt safe getting guidance. You felt, and there was guidance, and you were open to it, right? You want to learn how to live your life in a day-to-day basis, to always be open to guidance and always be connected to that part of you that brings guidance, and always be asking it what to do. So it goes back to when we're kids, we ask our parents, what do we need to do? And they tell us, or we go to school and they tell us what we have to do to be a good kid or a bad kid, or we are a good kid or we are a bad kid, and this is what you need to do to get through life, right? But we're relying on other people for our authority. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of them have an agenda for you that isn't for your highest good. Okay, so you want to put your guides and angels as your authority. You want to put the divine within you that created you to bring whatever you're supposed to bring to this world, make it your authority, because it'll never hurt you and it'll always guide you for what's best for your highest good. And not only will it do that, but if you align yourself with what you're truly here on earth to do, it's going to bring all of the resources for you every step of the way. It'll bring right guidance. It'll bring money if you need money. It'll bring protection if you need protection. It'll bring whatever you need, all the resources. Okay, that's how it works. All right, the sun has all of the resources in it to shine without ever getting tired. And it always is bringing to the planet exactly what it needs every moment. Okay. We have a light within us that does the exact same thing. And when we connect to it, we automatically start to bring through us what it wants to bring to the planet through us. Okay. And that's really your purpose in life. Okay. But to get to that purpose, we've got to learn how to continuously pull the weeds out of the garden or remove the obstacles that are blocking the light within us. Okay. And the way I've found is best to do that is just to monitor your emotions. When you feel scared, don't get reactive in your mind and try to change the outside world. Call in the light, call in the divine, call in your guides and angels, and just tell them, I feel scared. offer the fear to the divine, offer the fear to the light, and ask it to gently remove it from you and heal any thoughts, memories, judgments, perceptions associated with it, and to increase your faith in light. If you just did that, that's going to make huge shifts in your life. Okay. The more you have faith, the less you have fear. Okay. The less you have fear, the better your guidance is. It's really how it works. You know, like Abby and I we're doing a couple seminars this year, and it's just intensives on clearing the obstacles that are blocking your light and aligning yourself more and more and more with your guides, but making it your own. You know, I mean, you don't have to, like, a lot of the religious teaches you that you have to go there in order to get help or know the truth, but that becomes your authority, right? That light is within you and it's always with you. And the more you know that, the more free you are to have your own connection with it without the influence of someone else. A lot of other people, again, have agendas, right? So stepping into your power really means to do everything you can to learn how to make your connection with the light as strong as possible and how to really cultivate your awareness to where you know when you're stuck in the mind and when you're stuck in fear or anger or hate or frustration, that it's time to realign yourself with the light and ask it to heal you. Okay. And as you do that, your mind's going to start to get quiet. You're going to start to live with more peace than you've ever lived before with. And you're going to start to live by grace because the light within you is going to start to do your thinking for you. Okay. It's going to start to channel the right thoughts and the right wisdom into your mind, right? It goes back to the Divine Mother. She goes, don't try to do something with your mind alone. Ask me to help. Because with your mind alone, you'll get into trouble. When you connect to light and you work with it, you have infinite wisdom. And you'll have guidance that's spontaneous, that knows what to bring into your awareness at any given time. Okay? What blocks it? Fear, doubt, anger, hate, resentment, all these things. And that's why it's important to heal that stuff. Okay? So let me see what I've got in my notes now. um, okay. So I was working with someone one day, and my background is I studied mysticism for a lot of years before I even went into teaching. And I was working with someone one day, and after the session, I hung up the phone, and my guides told me, contemplate, put God first, and everything else will be added onto you. And I thought, okay, right? Because I'd read it in scripture, I'd learned it in mysticism, but it was kind of something that was told to me, and I didn't understand it, right? I mean, I never really realized what it meant. And so contemplating something means just asking. And you don't have to like beg or have any energy behind it. It actually blocks it. Just ask, just be honest and say, I don't understand what this means. Help me realize what it means. Help me understand it. And so I did that. And about 3 days later, I realized that when you put God first, you're putting a consciousness into a situation that brings protection, that brings wisdom, that brings whatever resources you need. Okay. And adds everything to the situation that you need for your highest and best good before you even step into it. Okay. So when you have a meeting going on where you think there's going to be um, conflict or rejection or whatever, just call in your guides and angels and call on the divine and say, hey, please go to this, send light to this meeting and be the consciousness operating in, on, and throughout all of us during this meeting. I offer you this meeting and all the results. And now you've got this higher consciousness of yourself going before you. And it starts to like melt away everything that's not from that consciousness. When you get to the meeting, think a lot of things might even be already be resolved. But if you hold light, there's a law called the law of resonance. And if you hold light to something, it will have superiority in that event. It'll start to dissolve darkness. It'll start to, remove things from the event that aren't of the light's will. Okay. But again, we don't need to understand it. It's like with electricity, we don't understand electricity, but we sure can turn the switch on and the light goes on. Okay. Spiritual healing is the same way. We may never understand it, like those guides told me, you'll never understand it. But is it okay if you bring it to the world? Yeah, it's fine as long as it's doing good, right? But we all have that. In whatever we're doing in life, we all have spiritual gifts to bring. And we have to be connected to the light to bring the gifts. And we have to connect to the light first, then the gifts come. And we don't have to think. Again, what did Christ say? Take no thought for your life. I contemplated that. What's it mean? It means that when you're connected to the light, your thoughts will come naturally. You don't have to think. You just allow them to come in. And they'll always have a lot more impact than thinking from a state of mind, right? So, as we start out in this journey about realizing our true essence and our true identity, the thing that is the most challenging is when we're in our own emotional wounds and we're identifying so much as not being worthy or not being good enough or not being lovable or not having enough. And we're in these states of fear consciousness. Sometimes we need someone else to hold light for us, or we need someone else to go to help us through the situation. And there's all kinds of people on the planet that are intermediaries to the light. They're avatars, they're very high levels of consciousness to where they're not sharing the same wounds, right? And since they're not sharing your same wound, they know that it's not your essence, and they can just hold light with you and help you to release it. Because you don't have to do anything about it, right? If you don't feel lovable, it's because people have judged you your whole life. If you weren't what they wanted you to be, they said they acted like you weren't lovable, right? If you weren't meeting their expectations, they acted like there was something wrong with you. There was nothing wrong with you, right? They didn't have right to hold expectations about you. But since you've drinking that stuff in, now you got to release it. Okay. And all you have to do to release it is let it go. You offer it to the light, you offer it to your guides and angels and ask them to pull it out of you and heal your thoughts. And it happens naturally over time. And as it happens, your perceptions automatically change. Your thoughts automatically change and your feelings automatically change. And you start to see things as they are. And you're more at peace. Okay. So stepping into your power is first, choosing to connect to it, which is the light within you. And then giving it permission to lead the way and kind of step in behind it, right? Ask it to heal you. And as it heals you, you become it. Does that make sense? Right? So, you know, one thing that you want to do is when you feel wounded or when you feel scared or when you feel angry or frustrated, don't go into your mind right away and trying to control things so the feeling goes away. Offer the feeling to the light. Offer the thoughts to the light. Take some time to clear yourself and then watch what happens. Okay. And I think what I'm going to do is just do a quick meditation because I talked too long and take you through kind of an example of that you can use in the recorded version of this. Okay. And it's just, it's just offering something to this divine light and letting it go. You have to let go. And then being open and receive. So I just want to take you through a meditation like that. Is that okay? All right. So when you're ready, let's just close your eyes. And just take a deep breath. And then just release it. And you might listen to the sounds that are going on in your environment right now. And maybe feel the temperature of the air on your skin. And these things bring you into the present moment. And when you're in the present moment, that's when you start connecting to the light. Okay? And the most important thing about connecting to the light, the most important thing you need to know is it's always with you. And all you have to do is call it in and ask it to come in. And it always will. Okay? So just call in the divine light, whatever you call that consciousness, that God consciousness that knows how to heal, that's completely loving, that never judges. Just call that in. And call in your divine guides and your angels. And then just be still and experience whatever you're feeling. If you can feel an energy coming in, just acknowledge it. Say thank you. And I want you to know that this energy, this consciousness knows how to heal anything. Thoughts, perceptions, memories, emotions. It can heal anything. And more importantly, it wants to heal everything. So once you know that you're connected with this, just let it go through your body and ask it to heal anything in your body that needs attention. And then just be open and allow it to heal anything in your body that needs attention. And if you have any emotions that are active, that are uncomfortable, I want you just to gently offer this light your emotion. And then just be still. And if you feel something, It's not going to hurt you. Just try to be at peace with whatever you're feeling. And let that divine light start to heal it. I want you, if you have anything in your life right now that you need help with, something that you're facing that's challenging. Again, you might notice when you think about it, there's an emotional component to it. So I want you to think about it now. And I want you just to pay attention to it, pay attention to the divine, this divine energy. And I first want you to offer the emotional component of this situation to the divine. And ask it to help you heal and transform it. And now I want you to offer your thoughts about the situation to the divine, your expectations, your desires. And I want you to ask the divine to heal and correct your thoughts, your perceptions, your desires, or your expectations associated with the event. And here's the nice thing. After you ask, just be open and receive. There's nothing you need to do except for be open, trust, and receive. I want you to realize you're working with an intelligence now that's all knowing, that's all powerful, and that only wants to love and help you. That wants to take away your suffering. That wants to help you understand things in the light of truth. Because that's really the essence of healing. And the other nice thing about this is that you don't have to heal yourself. You just have to let go and allow the healing to occur. And I want you to go to a place in your life where you've got something that you don't understand that you want help understanding. Could be something to do with your job, could be something to do with a relationship, could be something to do with a family member. Something that you truly don't understand that makes you nervous or that makes you frustrated. And again, first of all, offer the divine the emotional component that you feel about it. And then just pray to the divine and your guides and angels to heal this in you and help you to understand it in the light of truth. Not what other people's perceptions are, not what other people's expectations are, but in the light of truth. And give the divine permission to do this while you sleep. And continually do this until you understand what the truth is. Or that if it's something you're unsure what to do, until you understand what to do. But let the light within you bring understanding. Let it bring wisdom. Let it bring guidance. And let it remove any obstacles that would block you from understanding. The light is your power. Stepping into your power is all about learning how to have a relationship with it and call it forward. Let it be present. And the stronger that relationship becomes, the more you've stepped into your power. Now let's ask for some more grace. Ask this light to bring you those it can heal you through, help you through, and guide you through. We all need help. We're not here to do things by ourselves. And by asking for this, it brings people in this world to help you, but it brings them from the light. It also brings people like light beings to help you. But if you ask for the help, you get it. We're not made to do it on our own. We're made to have help. We're made to help each other. Let your help come from the light. Let your healing come from the light. Even if the light brings a doctor, it's going to be the right doctor. So you might want to take some steps each day to step into your power, to call forth this connection and get to know it. Because it has resources that you can never do with your mind. So now I just want you to thank the light within you. Thank your guides and angels. And ask them to keep healing you, keep protecting you, keep guiding you. And to keep removing any perceptions or obstacles that are causing you suffering. And by the way, since you're connected to the light, you can send it to your family members. You can send it to your friends. You can ask the light to help them, to bless them, to heal them. And it knows what to do. You don't have to micromanage it. Just trust in it. So now just take another deep breath. And just come back to the present. But keep your guides and angels with you. Keep the divine light with you. Bring it into the moment. And now I'm going to bring Abby back up on the screen and we're going to answer questions or comments. And just ask whatever you want to ask or share whatever you want to share. And I have to unmute you, Abby. Okay, Abby, say something.
Hi, everyone. That was a very, very powerful meditation with Jim, I thought. Does anyone have any questions or even just responses to what you were feeling or what you're thinking? I'll just repeat that this class will be on our YouTube channel, which is you go to YouTube and you type in Infinite Light LLC. So if you want to do these meditations again, it's going to be on that channel, as well as all of our old classes are on there too.
Yeah. We also have prayers you can download on the website that are really about how to clear emotional stuff and how to bring light and guidance into your life. I mean, it's all prayer to me is communicating with the divine. So we have a lot of prayers for healing, for clearing, for releasing things that don't serve you, and for strengthening your guidance. Very important. So you can load those on our website, and I'll put links to that in the comment section. I'll put links to the events that we're having in Sedona and in Virginia in the comment section. And I'll put a link to prayer request if you guys want prayer requests for you or your families. I'll put that link in the comment section, and um, you just tell us, who you want us to pray for, and all we do is make that connection with the light with them and help them to clear away things. Okay. All right. Did anybody feel any energy or warmth in those meditations?
Good. I'm really glad.
Good. Good.
And one of the comments here is I gave permission to heal all aspects of me with or without knowing of it. And that's so much what Jim was teaching, which is it's beyond our knowing, but as long as we connect with the light and we give permission, we get healed. So that's really fantastic.
Yeah, I went to a Yogananda event one time, and I used to always go to the meditations before the events, and then I go get donuts. And this time my guides told me, stay for the class. And I was like, I don't want to stay for the class. And they said, stay for the class. So I did. And the guy came up, the monk or whatever they're called, he came in and he says, the most important thing I want to share with you in this class is that every thought you have, every word you think, every word you say, everything you do, God's with you and it knows everything. So all you have to do is turn to it when you want help, and it's there for you, this consciousness, right? And, you know, it's amazing because people, when you first start on this path, it's like we have these beliefs that we're not worthy of getting help. We're not good enough. We're not lovable, or God's too busy somewhere else. None of it's true. These are the obstacles that block us from really strengthening our connection to light. Okay. So one of the first things you want to do is start just asking the divine, remove from me any obstacles, perceptions, or defects that I've accepted in my life that are blocking me from knowing you and trusting you. Right. And massive amounts of healing happen. And just, pretty soon things start to shift. And all you had to do is ask. Right. So, I mean, to me, stepping into your power is all about connecting to the light because that's the only power there is. Anyway, but this year, I mean, I'm going to really be focused on clearing away the obstacles and connecting people to their guidance. Because when you have good guidance, your fear goes way down.
Yeah,
When you
that's
know
very true.
something's true, you're protected. When you have good guidance, you're protected. And when you can trust your guidance, then your fear goes away, right? Our fear comes from being lied to over and over and over again and not knowing who to believe or what to believe. And as that gets cleared, your fear level goes way down. So we're going to be focusing on that because there's a lot of drama in the world and a lot of, quote, authorities telling us how we should think. And the truth of the matter is we all have our own guidance and we need to connect to it and learn how to have that as our truth instead of someone else. Anyway, anything else you want to add, Abby?
I think it was already said before that that's going to be the focus on our seminar weekends is just simply connecting people to the light and walking them through so many meditations and teachings so you really feel very secure. Um, I look at the comments and it seems like many people are already very spiritual, very connected, really getting guidance. But all we really do on the weekends is just heighten it for everybody and also hold light for everybody so that everybody can heal a little bit faster and connect a little bit better. So the 2 weekends we've planned so far, in May we'll be in Sedona, and in June we're in Arlington, Virginia. We have possible weekends coming up in Maui and possibly in London, England. So I'm just throwing that out there, but but that's what we do on a weekend. And our next class is going, oh gee, where's, I think it's written down here. April 6th. So I'll get all the information out to you. If you're just joining us for the first time, you can get on our mailing list by going to our website, www.infinitelight.me.
And if you have any questions, just please, there are phone numbers on the website now. You can call us or email us, whatever you need.
Yep. Great seeing everybody. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And if you have any requests for future classes, email us too.
Yeah,
We're always
definitely.
looking for new things to teach about.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good Sunday, what's left of it. Hi, Tamara.
See you next time, guys. Thank you so much.